was a normal school day for me in 5th grade. I was carrying my bright pink backpack on my shoulders and I was skipping to class, excited for the day ahead of me. I had my favorite blue shoes on and I was wearing my favorite outfit. My books were neatly organized in my bag and I had a new notebook to write fresh notes in. We all know the amazing feeling of going to your first day of school with new school materials and the determination to keep your math notes organized. Spoiler alert, they only stayed organized for about 3 days. Everything seemed like it was going perfectly. As I was skipping down the hallway, I noticed this one girl. Let's say her name is Mary, being pressured by her friends to share personal information. She looked trapped and clearly uncomfortable. She kept trying to resist by shaking her head. Her face was red and her eyes looked worried. Guess what I did? I looked at her. I didn't say anything or do anything. I just looked straight at her. Looking back at that moment was like standing at the edge of a still pond. I had a pebble in my hand, a choice. I could toss it into the water and interrupt the situation. But I chose not to. I walked away and the water stayed still. But in that stillness, nothing changed. Mary stayed trapped in discomfort and I stayed silent. In that moment, I didn't feel sad or upset. I felt almost nothing. Maybe a hint of hope that they would leave her alone, but I just walked on by, telling myself, it's not my problem, someone else will handle it. We've all been in situations where we felt torn between stepping in or just staying on the outside, telling ourselves it's not my problem. But what if I told you that staying silent doesn't just mean you're not involved? A few months after that experience, I found myself in a similar position, feeling helpless. It was at my school's annual field day. This event consisted of various challenges where green and gold, my school's color teams, went head-to-head in a battle. Green, the team that I was on, had won capture the flag by 1 point. There was a boy on the gold team who got extremely upset by his team's loss. In an effort to be a good sport, I reminded him of all the other challenges his team had won. Big mistake. He yelled at me so loudly, I swear a squirrel dropped its acorn in shock. Being the small person I was, and still am, I felt helpless, vulnerable, and scared. This boy from my grade was yelling at me uncontrollably, and I didn't know what to do. Classmates stared, but stayed silent. In that moment, I finally realized what Mary had felt like a few months ago. But then, something simple happened that changed my perspective. A classmate came over and said, "Hey, don't yell at her. She was just trying to help." When the boy yelled at me, I felt exposed. But when my classmate stood up for me, even if it was just with a few words, it mattered, because the ripple she made reached me. I felt seen, like someone had finally disturbed the stillness of the water. In that moment, I finally realized how much power one small act of kindness can have. Research from the UCLA School Mental Health Project shows that 80 to 85% of in-person or digital forms of bullying incidents happen with a peer bystander present. That means every day, many of us are watching others suffer and doing nothing to help. My silence that day contributed to that cycle of harm. When we choose not to act, we leave the water still. But when we choose to speak up, it's like tossing a pebble into the water. That pebble disturbs the stillness, and the ripple it makes travels far. One voice, one sentence, one pebble, and the whole situation changes. According to the Monique Burr Foundation, in 57% of the cases when peer bystanders do get involved, the bullying stops within 10 seconds. 10 seconds. That's less time than it takes my dad to inhale a slice of pizza. And trust me, that's fast. That past experience taught me the true meaning of being an upstander. It's not about having all the right answers or making grand gestures. It's about showing up when someone is hurting, even if it's just with a kind word or a simple smile. It's about using our voice to make others feel seen and valued. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, helps create a culture of respect and empathy. It's not always easy to step up. It might feel awkward, uncomfortable, or even risky. You might worry about saying the wrong thing or what other people will think. That moment of hesitation is completely human. But awkwardness is not a reason to stay silent. It's a signal that you care enough to want to do the right thing. Courage is choosing to take that pebble out of your pocket and tossing it into the water. Every pebble makes a ripple. A kind word, a brave act, a moment of stepping in. These are all pebbles we carry. You don't have to deliver a perfect speech or save the day in some dramatic way. You can simply say, "Hey, that's not okay," or "Are you all right?" The truth is, most people want to help. They just need someone else to go first. So let that someone be you. Be the person who takes 10 seconds to make someone's day. The more you practice stepping in, the less awkward it gets. And what once felt uncomfortable starts to feel like second nature. And that's how change begins. Not with perfection, but with small, brave steps to show others it's safe to care. We just have to try. And when we do, we can make a real difference in someone's life. Understanding the difficulties of transitioning into 5th and 6th grade, I realized how vulnerable these new students are to feeling alone and left out. I decided to start a diversity, equity, and inclusion committee at my school where students from 6th to 8th grade can join. This committee is focused on creating fun and engaging events tailored to the specific interests of each grade. These events span across multiple grades, providing students with the opportunity to build relationships with kids of different ages. Through this committee, I hope to see change within my school community to the point where it becomes a place where students aren't afraid to step up when they see something that isn't right. So here's my challenge to you. Next time you see someone who needs support, don't just stand by. Don't just hope someone else will step in. Be the one who makes a difference. It only takes 10 seconds. It can be something as simple as sitting next to someone who's alone or standing up for someone who's being picked on. Sometimes it's just about paying attention. Because all of us, kids, adults, teenagers, can sometimes get caught up in our daily lives that we don't even notice this mistreatment that's right in front of us. Your small action could be the one that changes everything. When we choose to be upstanders, then bullying, isolation, and exclusion will be solved, and kindness will become the norm. Let's be the generation that chooses to disturb the stillness. Let's toss in our pebbles, generate ripples, and turn silence into change. It only takes 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.